What's going on, guys? It's Investing Hustler here, and today I'm going to talk about the central banks and the truth and evil behind money. I think this is a very important topic, and it's important for everyone to know where exactly money comes from and how it's created. So now we all want and need money. Some people love money and become obsessed with it. You need money in order to survive. If you don't have money, then you can't buy food, you can't buy clothes, you can't pay for rent, nothing. So what is money and where does it come from? Money is nothing but a piece of paper, or in some countries plastic, printed and given value by central banks and the government. So let's Google search it. What are central banks? Central bank, a national bank that provides financial and banking services for its country's government and commercial banking system. Well, that doesn't sound too bad. But before we get to the evil truth about the central banks and the monetary system, I'm going to play you guys a very quick clip that will explain to you what exactly central banks are and what they do. Well, before we get started, I would like to ask you guys to please give me a like. It really helps my channel and it will push me to make more videos. So let's try to get this video to 100 likes.
A central bank oversees a nation's monetary system. With their ability to dictate the direction of an economy, central banks play a pivotal role in a country's growth. In most cases, they are not a government agency, even though they serve their nation. Central banks control monetary policy, which means they manipulate liquidity in the financial system to influence the economy. Their actions will determine currency stability, as well as the levels of inflation and employment. To control monetary policy, central banks issue currency and set interest rates on loans and bonds. Central banks raise interest rates to slow growth and avoid inflation. They'll lower rates to spur growth.
I mean, I guess that can't be too bad. They issue currency and then they set an interest rate on the loans and bonds. So they print money and loan them out to banks and charge them some interest. That seems fair, right? But I have a few questions. How did central banks get started? Where did they come from? And who owns them? The only way to find out is if I give you a history lesson. I'm going to take you guys back to 1775 when the American Revolutionary War began, as the American colonies sought to detach themselves from England and its monarchy. Though there are many reasons for the Revolutionary War, one in particular sticks out as the prime cause. King George III of England outlawed the interest-free independent currency the colonies were producing and using for themselves, forcing them to borrow money from the central banks of England at interest. This immediately put the colonies into debt. In 1783, America finally won its independence from England, but its battle against the central bank concept and the corrupt, greed-filled men associated with it has just begun. So what exactly is a central bank? A central bank is an institution that produces the currency of an entire nation. Central banks have two specific powers: the control of the interest rates and the control of the money supply or inflation. A central bank does not simply supply a government's economy with money, it loans it to them at interest. It is very important to understand that the entire structure of this system can only produce one thing in the long run: debt. It doesn't take a genius to figure this scam out. For every single dollar produced by the central bank, it is loaned at interest. That means every single dollar produced is actually the dollar plus a certain percent of debt based on that dollar. And since the central bank has a monopoly over the production of currency for the entire country, and they loan each dollar out with immediate debt attached to it, where do you think the money to pay for that debt comes from? It can only come from the central bank, which means the central bank has to continue to increase its money supply to temporarily cover the outstanding debt that has been created. So since that money is loaned out with interest as well, that only creates even more debt. So the end result of this system is slavery, since it's literally impossible for the government and its citizens to ever come out of this self-generating debt. The founding fathers of this country were well aware of this. At that time, dominant families in the banking and business world were the Rockefellers, the Morgans, the Warburgs, and the Rothschilds. You may have heard of these families since there are many conspiracies behind them, but I don't want to get too deep into this just yet, possibly in my next video. So if you guys enjoyed this video and want to learn more, give this video a like. And if this video reaches 100 likes, I'll make a part 2 where I could get more deep into these families.